Hello again. I've been doing a bit more of my tidying up, and I have found these two tiny palettes that I forgot I had. So let me just check that we're in view a bit better here. There we go. So these two little wooden palettes came from Etsy. They are very small, but I've just looked and I've found the links, and this one is like £1 something. So I will just pop it together and measure it. So this one is 7.5 centimeters square, or just under 3 inches square. So it's very much a square, this one. And it's got these little magnets that you can see here, and a little place to mix in. And it comes with the tiny little, I don't know what size they are. Would they be a quarter pan, maybe? But you can see you've got 4, 8, 12. So you've got 15 places to put some paint in. You can see that I've used I put cobalt blue in 2 of those slots because I knew I was going to use quite a bit. So I would say that this one, I don't know, you could probably use it a couple of times to go out with, but you're going to need to keep refilling it because they are such tiny little pans that are in there. But nevertheless, if you're wanting something that is really small, then this would work quite well. The only thing is that if you do get paint in other places, like I have around the edge here, then sometimes it can be a bit hard to open it. So what I do is use just a piece of plastic bag, really, I suppose. And you can still, as you can see, you can still do it up, but it means that it's easier to open, and it stops the paints from going everywhere. So that's how I've tended to use that one. But that is really, I'd forgotten I'd got it. It's really nifty. I'm glad I found it again. This one is slightly bigger. So this one again is wooden, but this one's hinged, as well as having, has got some magnets on it to keep it closed. So when it's closed, this one is 14.5 centimeters by 5 centimeters, and it's about 5.5 by 2 inches. 5.5 by 2 inches. This one has got 4 little places to mix your paints on. And what have we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 places to put your paint. It didn't come with the travel brush, but you can fit a travel brush in there. Yet again, the magnets are quite strong, and if you get paint on any of the wood, it can kind of stick a bit. So yet again, I tend to use this plastic like so, and it stays shut, but it just means that everything is easier to open, and the paint doesn't stick together. So that's those two little travel palettes, wooden ones. So if you like things to be quite natural and you like wood, then those are quite handy. And I will put the links to both of those. But something that I thought that I would share with you. Now, I have got Neo Color IIs. And I've got more than what's in this tin. This is the tin that I use with a curated kind of set, if you like. So it's not necessarily what's on here. I just use this tin with my supplies and choose what colours I want in there at any one time, just to take out with me. And they are lovely, and they are water soluble Neo Color IIs. But these are also water soluble. And they are the distress crayons that are, oh, that one's called Gathered Twigs. So these are from Ranger. And I think I might have a couple of odd ones in here. That these two, or is it three? So these three are a slightly different make. So these are Marabou art crayons for mixed media. They're a very similar thing. They are also water soluble. But these came in one of the scrawler boxes that I purchased quite some time ago. And because they were very similar to these distress crayons, I've put them in the same place. So I'm going to swatch all of these out now in my painter's colour diary, so that I know what I've got now that I've found these. So let me find my painter's colour diary. So this is what I'm gradually keeping track of all my supplies in. What page are we on? Here we go. We're going to need this page. Now we might have to move up a bit. Let's just see if we can go up a bit. There, that should get everything in. So what I will do is I will swatch them all out and then pause the camera and write the names in, and then bring them up higher for you. So why don't we start with this yellow one. Gosh, that's an interesting name. Okay, Cray de Cirivielli, or Crayon Envy Jacido. Well, okay then. Good job I'm not writing that right now, isn't it? So I'm going to do a little bit, and then with my water and my brush that I got in my scrawler box the other day. Let's get some water. I'm then going to wet some of that. So that you can see what it's like, both dry and wet. There we go. So let's put them in the other side once I've done them. I hope this one, oh, tea dye. Oh, that's a much easier name to pronounce. Oh, that's quite dark. Oh, there we go. Mucky Pup. Oh, that's lifted off quite nicely. So there's tea dye. What should we do next? We have got Wild Honey. These, by the way, you can, or you should be able to turn them. Yes, you can. So you turn them at the top here. So wild honey. Let's water you down. Because this paper's got a grain on it, some of the colours aren't completely watering down, if you see what I mean. They're sinking into the dips in the paper. Right, oh, I think you probably got my head in there. Then we have got rusty hinge. Okay. That's rusty hinge. What have we got that we can do next? This one is gathered twigs. I think I bought these when I was doing a lot of art journaling, which was very mixed media. Right, we will move on to, what should we move on to? Let's move on to this one, iced spruce. Okay, that's iced spruce. This is peeled paint. Haven't they got quite nice names? I would have to say they are pretty similar to Neo Colors. This one, what's this? Forest moss. Just turn that up a bit more. Oh, that's a good colour. Right, what should we do next? Let's go with festive berries. Pretty. And needless preserves. Right, some blues. Are these the same blue? What colour is this? Chipped sapphire and chipped sapphire. Right, so we only need to do one of those. Aged Mahogany. Should have put that with the browns, shouldn't I? Okay, we've got silver. And I'm guessing these are probably the same. Tarnished, oh no, one is tarnished brass and the other one is antiqued bronze. Okay, tarnished brass then. And then antiqued bronze. Now that I've swatched them out, I can see they are different. And then we'll move on to the three that are a slightly different make. So perhaps I'll put them down the bottom here. Does this one give us a colour? This Marabou. I can't see a colour on it. Oh, this is a lot more creamy than the Ranger ones. I've never heard of Marabou. Oh, and they re-wet, and yeah, then they're not so going into the dips in the paper quite so much. Shame they don't seem to have colour names on them. Oh, that one's gone into the dips a little bit. And then that's our last one. Okay, so I will label these up and then bring them back up so that you can see them better. Okay, and I did actually manage to find the names of those Marabou ones. So we'll start with our Ranger Distress crayons, going across. You can see where they just go into the grain of the paper a little bit when you wet them. And then moving this way. That's our antiqued bronze. And then the three Marabou colours were Sunshine Yellow, Pomegranate and Plum. And I would have to say that the Marabou ones felt creamier than the Ranger Distress crayons. So, yes, what I might do next time is swatch out all of my Neo Color IIs Depending on how long it is, I might add it on to the end of this video or do it as two separate videos. Okay, so to make things a little bit quicker, I have put my Neo colours on dry and labelled them all up, and I'm just now going to wet them. Not that we'll be able to see the white very much at all, but we've got Sahara yellow. Just want to see how they compare when they wet to the Ranger Distress crayons. I think they probably feel a little bit creamier to wet. But they are working in a very similar way in that on the watercolour paper, the crayons do go into the sort of grain of the paper. Sorry, I wasn't yelling out the colours, was I? So white, Sahara yellow, orangish yellow, yellow, ochre, golden ochre. And now we're going to do apricot, which I added quite a bit of water to, so perhaps not quite so much. Then we've got salmon. We've got orange. This little painter's colour diary is going to be so useful because I'm going to be able to use it to pick out colours to make little colour palettes for specific projects or specific times of year. I'm also going to be able to look to see whether I need to buy another Payne's Grey or if I've got a Payne's Grey in a different make. So flame red, vermilion, and then scarlet. We've got rose. We've got purple. Violet. Russet. English red. Some of these colours I had to hook out of my autumn palette that I've put together. That one's just called brown. This one is Van Dyke brown. Umber. Umber's always got a slight sort of greenish tinge to it. It's almost grey, really. Sepia. Yeah, there is a difference there. Going on to some greens, we've got Chinese green. That's almost a chartreuse colour. We have got yellow green. And when you wet it, you can see that yellow coming through. Olive. One of my favourite Neo Color IIs. Good for adding texture to things. Emerald green. We've got dark green. And I think I'm just going to change my water. Let's get another water jar over here. Move that one to the side. So then what have we got? Jade green. Light blue cobalt. Or light cobalt blue, sorry. Turquoise blue. Cobalt blue. Sapphire blue. Ultramarine, good old ultramarine. We've got indigo. It's got a real purpley tinge to it. And then, because I didn't want to use a whole page to just put 5 colours on, I'd got 5 colours still to do a swatch for. So I pulled out one of the pages from the smaller Painter's Colour Diary, and I'm just going to hopefully, yes, I think that will, yes it will, that will slot in there. So I'll just move that to the side a moment, and we will continue with silver grey. We've got beige. Greyish black. We've got Payne's grey. And finally, black. So, I will now bring all of those up for you, in case any of you are thinking about getting some more Neo Color IIs. I've bought, apart from the one original set in that tin, I've bought these all open stock. So Sahara yellow, there we go, going across into some ochres and apricot, that's still quite wet. Then we've got our salmon, orange, oh, I love flame red actually, vermilion, gorgeous, scarlet, rose and purple. Moving along to violet, russet and English red, perfect for autumn, brown, Van Dyke brown, umber and sepia, so there is a slight difference there between those. Then we've got some greens with our Chinese green, yellow green, olive, emerald, dark green, jade green, moving into blues, light cobalt blue, turquoise, cobalt, sapphire, ultramarine and indigo. And then these slightly smaller ones for silver grey, beige, greyish black, Payne's grey and black. it is quite interesting to see the difference between those three, and the beige is rather nice. So those are all of the Neo colours, and looking at them compared to, let me just turn my page again. I think the Neo colours, if we look at these quite closely and how much they've gone into the grain of this watercolour paper, and then if I turn this over and you look at the Ranger Distress crayons, it's the where it's gone into the grain of the paper is much more marked. It stands out more. The same with the Marabou ones. So if you're wanting something that waters down a bit better without leaving some of those marks in the paper, then probably the Neo 2 are probably your best bet. But if you actually want texture, then I would say that these Ranger Distress crayons and even these Marabou ones will add interest, will add texture to your painting. So I'm quite pleased that I've got both, because I think they do work slightly differently. So yes, there we are then. If I pull that up, then we can get all of those in. Neo Color 2's done. I'm really getting on with my tidying up and sorting out. Okay, I will see you next time. Bye for now.